Good morning. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Joseph Fletcher. I am the student instructor for Professor Priscilla Grosser. I've been getting a lot of questions about the loop assignment for the PL SQL. Just wanted to throw together just a quick video of some different ways of constructing the loops and to be able to test them so that you can put together some of the questions. So just going to jump right into it. So basically, if you don't know already, we can do this separately. We can edit some type of file. So we're going to call this loop exercise. Let's do exe, and we're going to hit enter. And this brings me to the onboard editor. So essentially what we can do here is we could put together all of our code, take a look at it, and then we can save it as a file. As you can see up at the top, we have this file loopexe.sql. And just to kind of start it off and to get something to display to the console, first off, we need to use the set server output. And if I spell that right, it would probably work a little bit better. Server output, and we're going to set that to on. And let's just go ahead and end that. Set server in output to off. And basically what that's going to do is that is going to allow us to display to the console. And then we're going to turn that off as soon as we exit and everything is saved into this slash here, which is our buffer. So the first thing we need to do is we need to declare something. Let's say we needed a variable just to store a number. So let's open up our declare statements. And we're going to go v underscore count. And that is going to be a number. So we're going to tell it what type. You can use the parentheses, you can put a length. But for this case, we just put number and colon equals 0. So this colon equals is our assignment. And for right now, we're going to start this count variable as the value of 0. So next part of this, if you didn't know this at all, we're going to use what's called a begin. So essentially the three parts of it are declare, begin, and end. So the begin is, let's just say we want to output to the console, dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. So this is basically our console.write, our document.write in JavaScript. This is going to be the same type of thing where it's just going to give us a value, or we can print messages to the console directly. dbms underscore output dot put line, and it's going to be v parentheses v underscore count for right now. And then we're going to put our end. So basically, just a quick program. If we do this correctly, it should output the value of v underscore count, which at this point is 0. So to get out of the screen, we're going to hit Control X. If we want to save everything, we're going to go ahead and say yes, and that saves it into the buffer. So if we go ahead and we go up arrow, which brings up our previous, in case we forgot what we named the file, we go here, we go at the ampersand here, which is basically going to start that, and it gives us a 0. So we did do that correctly. So let's jump back in. Up arrow twice gives us back to the edit. So let's go and jump in here. So that's how we output to the console. So let's say I want to change the value of vcount. So because I've already declared it as a number here, I don't have to do that again. So we're just going to take that vcount and we're going to go and equals v underscore count, which is 0, and we're going to increment it by 1. So if we did this correctly, we're going to go Control X, and then we're going to hit Y and enter. We go back up to our ampersand loop exe. Don't know why I named it that, but it works. And now it says 1. So that is basically how we get some type of output to the console without having to access a table or anything like that. So let's talk a little bit about loops. So there are three different types of loops that we have to work with. And we have basic loop, and what I'm doing here is just making a comment. The double hyphen is going to be a comment. And let's look at the basic structure of a loop. So I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to comment this out. Basic loop. So we have to start off by telling it that we're going to loop. So we take loop, and then we have to end the loop. And that is the basic structure of that. So anything that goes in between here is going to be what happens when we start the loop process. Now, notice that if you're familiar with loops to begin with, there is nothing here that's going to break us out. So we actually have to manually add it into our code in the loop block itself. Now, what does that mean? So let's say we go ahead and do that same increment, that v underscore count and equals v underscore count plus 1. So we're going to use this as our counter for this loop. So how do we break out? What we're going to do is we're going to use an exit statement. And we're going to use exit when v underscore count is greater than 3. And then again, going to use that output, dbms underscore output dot put line underscore line v underscore count exit when. So let's go ahead and control X, Y, hit enter, and let's run it and see what happens. Again, we can use that up arrow to go through our commands, and we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So our loop did work correctly if we were trying to exit at 4. So why did it exit at 4? It's because we have this v underscore count is greater than 3. So let's manually kind of walk through the loop. We're starting at 0 because we commented all this out. So v underscore count is 1. Is that 1 greater than 3? No. Go back to the top. V count is 1 plus 1, which equals 2. Is 2 greater than 3? Nope. Go back to the top. Is that makes it V count 2 plus 1 is 3. Is 3 greater than 3? No, it's not. Now it becomes 3 plus 1, which is 4. Is 4 greater than 3? Yes, it does. So that's why we get 1, 2, 3, and 4 printed to the console. And that is a basic loop structure. Now, the exit when. This does not have to go at the end. This can go in the middle, it can go in the beginning. But know that if we mess with the location of that exit when, it is going to mess with what our output looks like. So let's move it to the beginning and let's see what happens. Control X, hit Y, hit enter, and then we run it. And it's going to mess with me and give me the same exact answer. So let's see what we did different. Well, irregardless, so that works. But just know that this can move backwards and forwards. And we'll go ahead and get rid of that. So that is the basic loop. Now, make sure we're still in between the end and the begin, because we got to keep it all in the same block. So now we need to reset the v underscore count, our count variable. And let's reset that back to 0. And we can do that with an assignment statement. And that is going to be v underscore count colon equals 0. Oops. Oh yeah, and you can't use the extra keys to the right of your keyboard or else you'll get this. Control C to cancel. and we'll use the top row, and that resets our count back to 0. So that brings us to a while loop. So with a while loop, the while loop has the condition built into the statement. And what that means is I can actually create my exit in the opening of the while loop itself. So when v count is greater than 3, and then we need to put the word loop again. So it's while v underscore count greater than 3, loop, and then let's just go ahead and put our end loop to close it out at the bottom, just so we don't forget and throw errors. So that gives us the while loop, while v underscore count is greater than 3. Oops, sorry. Let's reverse that. Because we're using a while loop, not an until, v underscore count less than 4. Let's do it that way. So while v underscore count is less than 4 is true, we get to loop. So let's just do the same thing we did with the basic loop. V underscore count plus 1. So that is our assignment. V underscore count now is going to equal itself plus 1, our running total. And then we're going to use that dbms again. dbms output dot put line, and go ahead and put the variable into the parentheses. So now we have our while loop, we have something going on in there, and we're going to print out what happens within that while loop. Control X, Y, and enter to save it. And let's just try to run it. And we have some errors. So let's see what I did wrong here. I spelled dbms is incorrect. So dbms, try to spell things right, makes code work a lot better. And let's go ahead and run that. And we see that we have both of our loops displaying 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the basic construction of a while loop, using just a variable and incrementing said variable, and using that set server output to display something to the console. And last but not least, let's go ahead and reset the v underscore count one more time back to 0. And let's start the for loop. So the for loop, basically, as like we did with the while loop, has a condition built into the opening statement. The difference here is the for loop actually does all the counting for us by basing it on an index. So we have to create a variable. We can do idx, we can do I, we can do a, you can do anything you want here. There are a few keywords that won't let you do it, like if you put index, it'll throw an error. But for right now, let's just go index, idx. So for idx in, and then we set up our count, how many times do we want to do it. So we want to start at 1, dot, dot, 4, and loop. So when this index, we're basically creating a variable index, idx, and we're going to start it with a value of 1, and we're going to break out of the loop when that value is 4. So we're going to go here, we're going to go end loop, and now we're going to write that same statement. Underscore count, colon equals, because it's an assignment, v underscore count plus 1. And then we're going to go dbms underscore output dot put line. And let's make sure that I spelled this right this time. dbms output line parentheses v underscore count. And we're going to put a semicolon there. Let's go ahead and run that and see how this one acts. Control X, Y, and enter. Run our program one more time. And I forgot to reset the loop. So that's why it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's go ahead and edit this real quick. And let let's reset this to 0. V underscore counts and equals V underscore counts. Oops, got distracted. V underscore count assignment equals 0, semicolon, control X, Y, enter. And let's run the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have created 3 different loop structures, each of which we've counted to 4. We've broken out of the loop and exited the program properly. As you see here, we have PL SQL procedure successfully completed. And that is basically loops in a nutshell. Let me know what you think, and good luck.